Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. So, this is take two. There were audio issues again with the first time I went live, so hopefully this one is better. So, let me check and make sure that you can hear me and I can see your comments. Issues again with the Okay, so it sounds like you can hear me okay. So I'm going to give everyone just a couple of minutes to find us again. And thanks for joining. When you join, say hello. Thanks for joining me on Friday. It's another Friday. Yay, weekend is here. I hope you have something fun to look forward to this weekend. We have another busy weekend of lacrosse. It is plenty of Patterns Decorative masks from the new annual catalog. I had not played with them yet, so I thought it was time. So I pulled it out and I paired it with one of the new stamp sets, and I thought this is what we're going to do today. So I'm going to show you a couple of really cool ways to use them, but I just want to give everyone a couple of minutes to find us here. So when you jump on, say hello. Let me know you're here. And happy Friday to everybody. Thanks for joining me. It's a yucky, rainy day here today. We've had a great week, and now the weekend's here, and the rain came. So it's wet. It's going to be a wet weekend. So I hope you're looking forward to nicer weather than we are here. So hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'll give everyone just a couple more minutes to find us, and then we're going to get started and make these cool cards using decorative masks and inking. I've pulled in some of my favorites and paired it with a couple of new things to share with you today. All right, so I think I'm going to get started. So the first thing I want to remind you about, I know I have reminded you for how many weeks now, but we are in the last week of the January to June mini catalog. Lots of great deals still available on that last chance list. You guys, so many dies in here are half off, like a die set for, $14, $15. That's a great deal. So check this out. Make sure some of your favorites aren't on that last chance list. And if they are, you might want to snatch them up. All right, so hello everyone. Thanks for joining. Say hi. Let me know you're here. All right, and just a reminder that we're also coming to the end of the month, which means the June Simple Sweet Stampers tutorial bundle is going to change. So if you would like to get your Simple Sweet Stampers tutorial bundle, this is something free I offer to my customers and my team. You are welcome to place an order. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for joining. You are welcome to place an order on my online store, and when it's $50 or more, I give this to you free. You're also able to purchase this, so if you would like it and you're not on my team or a customer, you're welcome to shoot me an email, and you can purchase this for $15. This bundle has 12 projects, and this month it focuses on the new in colors. So there's 12 step-by-step projects. They're, just like it says, simple. This is my project for the month. Very cute, using the Lots of Heart stamp set that's retiring here just next week, and that's in here. So let me know if you'd like your Simple Sweet Stampers tutorial bundle. I'm also offering a really cute package of 5 hand-stamped cards for anyone who makes a purchase in my online store this month of at least $50. So it's like a double win. You not only get your tutorial bundle, but you get a package of hand-stamped cards. These are projects that maybe I've made, that I've had extras of. Sometimes I'll participate in swaps with other demonstrators to get ideas, and when I'm done using them in my business, I can share them with you. So these will be packaged up and sent to you. The first week of July, I will get these out to anyone who placed orders with me for the last couple of weeks in June. So thank you. All right, so for today, I thought it would be fun to work with some decorative masks. Now, I hadn't worked with masks for a while. I love masks. They're really fun to work with, and you can do so many different things with them. So I thought it was time to pull them out. Now, this pack is the Plenty of Patterns decorative masks. These are new in the annual catalog. And I'm going to pair them today with the Biggest Wish stamp set, which is also a new stamp set in the annual catalog. So let me show you where you can find these. So this is the Stampin' Up! May 2021 to April 22 Stampin' Up! Annual catalog. And if you turn to page 128, you can see all of the things that, well, not all, but many of the things I'm going to use today. Here are the decorative masks. We have 2 sets. We're going to use this new set called Plenty of Patterns. There's also a set that we've had for a little while called Basic Patterns. So if you don't have either of these, they're inexpensive. They're $8 for a pack of 4. So you get an element for a couple of bucks that you can use over and over. That's a great deal. We are going to pair it with ink, and then we're also going to do some heat embossing. So we're going to use our heat tool and our Basics Stampin' Emboss powder, which has black, clear, and white. We're going to use clear and white today. And then to heat emboss, you will want Versamark ink. So that's all found on pages 128 and 129 of the current May 2021, April 22 annual catalog. And if you don't have your catalog, please let me know. If you don't have a demonstrator and you live in the United States, I would love to get a catalog off to you and help you with your product needs. So let me show you what I did. So the first card we will make uses the masks to make a subtle background. So I have paired it, like I had mentioned earlier, with the Biggest Wish stamp set, which is a really fun stamp set. I've enjoyed working with this. And the Sweet Symmetry Designer Series paper. Now, one of the masks in this set looked like it paired perfectly with the designs in this Designer Series paper. Doesn't it look like it matches really well? So I thought it would be a good pairing. Hi, Cheryl. Thanks for joining. Happy Friday. Now, this paper, I love the Flirty Flamingo and the Night of Navy with the greens and golds together. There's both some light and some darker patterns in it. The B-sides are really nice, kind of monochromatic. Great for layering, great for stamping on. So you can see there's just lots of contrast and bright, fun colors in this Sweet Symmetry Designer Series paper. So I thought that would pair great with this. So for this project, you are going to want a basic standard 5.5 by 8.5 Flirty Flamingo card base, scored at 4 1/4. I have pre-cut a stitched triangle from the rectangle. That's not a triangle, a rectangle. I have pre-cut a stitched rectangle from the Stitched Rectangle die set. These are a staple. If you don't have them, you need them. I have cut a scrap of Flirty Flamingo cardstock that's 1 inch by about 1 3/4 or 2 inches. Now this will vary depending on the size of your sentiment. And then I have cut a piece of Sweet Symmetry Designer Series paper that's 3 3/4 by 5. For ink, you are going to want Flirty Flamingo and Night of Navy, or whatever inks coordinate with your Designer Series paper. And then we're going to use a blending brush. Those of you who know me know I love blending brushes. All right, so let's get started. This is probably the simplest and most direct way to use your masks. Now, this mask has a directional pattern on it, so before you start using it, you want to have an idea of which direction you want to make your card. I've decided to make my card with a standard side fold, so I'm going to put my mask down with the pattern facing in the appropriate direction. The key when you're using your masks and doing inking, you want to make sure that you don't shift your mask once you start inking. You're welcome to use a little bit of washi tape or a post-it note to hold it in place if you would like. I'm going to live on the wild side and I'm not going to adhere mine down. Now, you can use a sponge dauber. You could put your ink pad direct down and rub it across your mask. You can use a blending brush. There are so many different ways that you could add ink to your card front. But because I love the blending brushes and I think it's just such an efficient way to apply ink, that's what I'm going to use today. So simply ink up your brush and then you just gently apply it to your card base. Now it's going to be hard to see how much ink is actually being applied because this is just like a tone on tone with the Flirty Flamingo ink on the Flirty Flamingo card base. But trust me, when you lift this, you'll be able to see it. So I'm just going to gently go over all the areas. Now I'm not trying to make the pattern look heavy. I don't care if the ink is not equal intensity all over. I just want it to add a soft, subtle background. I'm going to focus kind of on the edges a little more than anywhere because I'm going to have a layer on the front of this card anyway. So once I think I have inked this up, I'm going to lift it and you have this really cool pattern. Hi Kirsten, thanks for joining. Happy Friday, friend. All right, so very easy, right? And it gives you a really neat background. It's fast. And you can mix and match your colors. You can use tone on tone, which is what I did with the Flirty Flamingo ink on the Flirty Flamingo cardstock. Or you could add something contrasting. It's completely up to you. Now to clean this, you can just run it under water. It cleans really easily. I'm just going to take my chamois and just lightly rub it over the top. Now, when you're working with masks, you can expect to get inky fingers. So be ready to wash your hands if you get ink on them. All right, so now we're done with the mask for now. I'm going to build my background by bringing in the layer of designer series paper that I have pre-cut. I'm going to adhere this in place in the center of my card base. And I'm just going to use some Stamp and Seal to put this down. I'll do my best to get it centered, which is hard for me to do sitting and with a camera over my head. So if it's crooked, you have to give me grace. All right, I think that's straight. All right, now let's work on our front focal piece. So this is the stitched rectangle that I have pre-cut from the stitched rectangle dies that I had previously shown you. And I'm going to stamp repeatedly with the friend stamp, the big block letters from the Biggest Wishes stamp set. You could mix and match and do any fun combination that you would like. And I'm actually going to give you the choice of what color ink we're going to use. So first I will show you how I stamped this. I just got lucky and decided this was the size I wanted, and when I pulled the stamp out, it worked perfectly that you can fit 3 of these images perfectly down the center of this rectangle. So again, we are going to use some Flirty Flamingo ink. And I will ink this up. Now, when you're using these stamps that have fairly solid images like this, you want 2 things. One, you want to make sure that your stamp pad is well inked, not over inked, but well inked. And 2, you want to make sure you're on a good solid surface. Sometimes, if you're not getting a real nice image, you will want to put a foam mat underneath, like the piercing mat. But I had pretty good luck just stamping on my table, so that's what I'm going to do, and that image turned out well. And then I think I'm going to come down to the bottom, and I'll just give it a second for that ink to transfer well so that I get a good image, and then I'll come up into the center. All right. So there's, I've repeatedly stamped friend. And now on this small piece, I want to repeat the subtle background that the mask provides. So I'm going to pull in my mask again with my blending brush. You can add a little bit of ink to it if you want, or if you think there's enough ink on here for a subtle background, you don't have to re-ink it. I'm just going to add just a bit more, and then I'm going to just add a little bit of ink to this piece before I stamp the sentiment. So let's see if we like that. Yeah, it's pretty light. Let's add a little more. That's better. And again, I'll just wipe this off just with some water on my chamois. And I can put the blending brush away for now. Then I'll pull in the Night of Navy ink, and I'm going to add the hello. So this card will say hello, friend. There, isn't that cute? I love this little hello stamp. All right, so now you get to help me pick which layer I use. So on this rectangle, I have stamped friend in Flirty Flamingo on the Flirty Flamingo cardstock, but look at, I also stamped this in navy when I was playing before I went live, and I thought, ooh, that's kind of fun. So what do you like better? Do you like the friend in navy with the navy hello? Or do you like the friend more subtle with the hello that pops? What do you think? Which one should I use? Should I mix it up? Should I do this combination, or should I do the Flirty Flamingo? Tell me what you think. I'll give you a minute because I know the comments are delayed. Does anyone have an opinion? If not, I'll mix it up and use the navy since I did Flirty Flamingo on the other one. Let's do that. All right, so I will add some dimensionals to the back of this stitched rectangle. And I will add this to the center of my card. And I'm just going to use the take my pick tool to pull these backings off. And then I'm just placing this in the center of my card. And then I'm going to add this little hello layer also with dimensionals. Now I'm going to have this extended off the edge of the rectangle, so I want to keep my dimensionals kind of on this left side so that it doesn't stick down to the layers underneath. It would kind of look funny. Being lopsided, no lopsided letters. All right. So I'm going to add this. It's very cute with the navy too. Now to embellish this, I'm going to pull in some of this gorgeous Flirty Flamingo metallic ribbon. This is in the annual catalog. It was new this year. It's so pretty. I don't know if you can see the pretty metallic shimmer that this offers. So I'm just going to tie a bow and add it to the card front with a glue dot. If you want to wrap this around the layer, you can. You can't go wrong with ribbon and shiny metallic accents, right? And I'm just playing to get it the size that I would like it. Okay. I'll just trim these edges. And then I will put it on a glue dot. I like to just put it right on the glue dot like this. And then I like to pick it up with my take your pick tool, because then you can place it exactly where you want it. You can kind of decide, do I like it there? Do I like it here? Where do I like it? It's kind of fun up there, isn't it? But I think I'm going to put it here, right by the hello. And I see that my tail is lopsided, so I'm going to trim a little more of that off to make it even. And then to finish it off, I'm going to use one of my favorite embellishments, the adhesive backed sequins. These come in, I think, 5 different colors. And I'm going to put some Mango Melody on here. Now, I know Mango Melody isn't anywhere on this card, but look at how perfectly these match. So I'll pull a big one and a couple of smaller ones, and you can place these wherever you want on your card, just to add a little extra touch. Maybe a little one down here. So there you go. There's our first card. Very cute. A very easy way to use the masks by adding a subtle background, a little bit of accent here behind the sentiment. It's very cute. Very easy. So there's our first card. What do you think? Fun mask, right? Which one do you like better? Tell me. Do you like the navy or the Flirty Flamingo friend? Tell me what you think. All right, now the second card, I brought in some embossing and just created a bold, fun, colorful background. Now, this uses heat embossing and the heat tool. So if you have not seen a heat tool before, this is what the heat tool looks like. It gets very hot. You apply the powder and melt it essentially with this. So we will be using that. And let's pull in the rest of our supplies here for this card. All right, so here's the mask we're going to use. It has this really cool kind of stained glass pattern look to it almost. Isn't that neat? And we are going to do blending again. We're going to use our blending brushes to create that colorful background. So let me pull everything in. I'm trying to scooch this out of the way here. I forgot to share one other thing with you in my announcement, so I'll need to make sure I do that at the end so that you don't miss out. You don't want to miss out on that. All right. So here's the supplies we're going to need for this project. You're going to want your mask. For this, I'm going to use a silicone mat. This is also in the annual catalog. It's stretchy, it's soft. It's a great item to put down to protect your work surface when you're doing things messy. This is going to keep ink and all kinds of messy stuff that we're going to do on this project off the work surface. All right. You're going to want a thick basic white card base that's 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored this at 5 1/2. You're going to want a 3 3/4 by 5 white, basic white mat, as well as a 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 basic black layer to go behind it. It'll just sit behind it like that as a mat so that it helps these colors pop. Then you will also want a scrap of basic black that's just big enough for the sentiment. I'm going to use this Hello sentiment again, just because I love it. So I'm going to use that. And then we're going to dress it up with some sequins when we're done, just a little extra. All right. Now the colors that we're going to use to make that colorful background, there's 5. Granny Apple Green, Bermuda Bay, Polished Pink, Mango Melody, and Gorgeous Grape. I hit the Brights color family. Aren't those awesome colors? I love them. The Brights are my favorite color family. What about you? Do you have a favorite color family? Tell me what you think. Then we are going to use some clear embossing powder. And I'm going to pull in blending brushes to apply the ink. Now, I don't know about you, I have a lot of blending brushes. I don't have one for every color, but I have designated a brush for each color family. So I have one for purples, one for pinks, one for bluish green, or greenish blues really, one for regular greens, and this is the one for like kind of yellows and light oranges. So you could use just one and rub the excess off before you use it on another color, or you could have one for every color. Whatever you like is okay with me. And then to heat emboss, we are going to use Versamark ink, okay? So I'm going to set my inks up here. And we are going to start with this white 3 3/4 by 5 inch white mat, and I'm just going to slide these out of the way. Now I am going to use some washi tape to hold my mat in, my mask in place for this project, just because you do a lot of inking and then afterwards we're going to smush it full of Versamark ink, which is sticky and tends to move things. So if you're doing this card on your own later, I would pull out either a post-it note or some washi tape to hold it in place. All right, so I'm going to just move these other pieces out of the way for now. Okay, so let's tape this down so it doesn't move. Oh, you like brights or the in colors? Yeah, the in colors are really good, aren't they? All right, so I'm just going to put this in place, and there's really no right or wrong in terms of where this mask sits, unless there's a particular grouping of these shapes that you want in a certain place. I am just putting it down on my white piece over my silicone mat. All right, so you can use as few or as many colors as you want to create this project. I'm going to open up mine, and maybe I'll try to create a little more of an ombre look this time. Last time I just kind of put color wherever. Maybe this time I'll have a little more method to my madness and do some stripes or something. So I'm going to do it in this order. So I'm going to start with a little Mango Melody, and I think I'm just going to kind of do some light circular motions up here. Then maybe pull in some green. This is Granny Apple Green. I think I'm going to do like strips of color this time. Last time I just did random. Then let's go with some Bermuda Bay. And I'll have to blend this one a little more. And then let's do some polished pink next to the Bermuda. It's going to look a little bit purple when it lies over the top of it, I think. Isn't that fun to just see the color start to pop? And then we'll do the gorgeous grape down here in the corner. Oh, that's fun. I like that strip like that. All right, so now I'm going to put my colors away so that I don't accidentally do something I'll regret, like stick my hand in it. So you can see it doesn't take long to apply color. I just want to get this corner a little better though. So before I put this away, let me hit up these edges a little bit better. I didn't get them very well. Okay. Now, before I pick this up, I am going to take my, just like a little scrap of paper towel, and I just want to wipe some of the ink off the mask. Otherwise it'll get on my Versamark pad. All right, and the mask is a little, this particular one has lots of edges on it, so it's a little hard to wipe it. So, all right, now I'm going to take this Versamark pad and I'm going to apply it all over the top of the mask, right down onto this paper. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to add clear embossing powder and make this shiny. Now, you could lift this. That's what it looks like. Isn't that so cool? It's so cool. You could just leave it like that. You would not have to do this next step. I'm just doing it because I wanted to create a card that has just this shiny pattern on the front with the plain white strips between it that weren't shiny. I think it just really makes the color pop. It makes it really cool. But this is great too. If you don't want to get into this messy part with the Versamark ink and the heat embossing, it is okay. So I've made sure that my pad is juicy, and I'm just going to put this right down directly to my paper. This is called direct to paper. I'm just adding this Versamark ink right down onto the paper. I want it to be good and juicy so that it holds my clear embossing powder. And yes, it gets ink all over the mask. It's okay. The mask will work just fine next time. You will want to wash it good with soap and water. All right, so now I'm happy with that. So I'm going to pull this mask off my paper, but you want to be careful not to touch it anywhere where there is Versamark ink. And I'm just going to take these and set it aside out of our way so it doesn't get where we don't want it. All right, so now I'm going to bring in a little tray that I use when I use my embossing powders, and I'm going to bring in my clear embossing powder, and I'm going to add clear embossing powder all over the top of this. Now it's going to stick where the Versamark ink is, where that's where the color is, and where the paper's white, it's not going to stick because that's where we don't have Versamark ink. Okay. I'm just going to get the excess off, and I'm just going to go over it a second time and just make sure that it's everywhere. Make sure you get your corners. And then I'm going to do the other half. All right, what do you think? Do you like to heat emboss? Have you ever played with heat embossing before? It was one of the, it's okay. It's one of the first things I learned how to do when I started stamping, and it was like magic. So I have a funny story. So I have a 12-year-old daughter. She loves to come and play in my room. And she came down into my room when I was making this card and said, "Ooh, Mom's playing with the magic powder." I thought that was really funny. And it really is like magic powder because it does cool things. All right, I'm just putting this back in here so it doesn't spill. And I'll set this out of the way as well. Now this is where the heat tool comes into play. Now this heat tool gets extremely hot, so you want to be careful that you don't burn your fingers. It's an awesome heat tool. It has 2 different settings. You can use the lower setting just to dry your paper if you're doing watercolor techniques, or I can use it to blow this powder that I just spilled away from my space. But for heat embossing, you want to put it on the second setting. So this is the first setting. It's going to get louder when I put it on the second setting. It's going to make me a little hard to hear. So I'm going to put this in a little, I like to use a little, they're like tweezers that will hold my paper for me. And then I'm going to heat this, okay? So when I heat this, I'm going to step away and then I'll be right back. I'm just letting that gun get warm. It takes just a minute. All right. Now, as I heat this, you're going to see it get shiny, and that means that the powder has melted, so you may have a hard time seeing it on the camera. I'll try to angle this and get this under here a little better. There it goes. I didn't have it under here very well. Can you see how it's getting shiny? I'm not sure you'll be able to see that. Hi, Janet. Thanks for hopping on today. Happy Friday. All right, can you see how it's getting shiny where I've heated it? And it's not shiny where I haven't heated it. So I'm going to keep going. Now you can put as many layers on here as you want. If you want this to get nice and thick and really looking like a mirror over the top of it, after you heat this first layer, you could put your mask back on. It's very easy to line up. And you could add a second layer of Versamark and embossing powder if you wanted. I will probably just do the one layer. I'm just kind of going over each little spot here and making sure that we have it all. You don't want to miss any little pockets of powder. I see that I had a little area there that I hadn't gotten well. All right, I think I have it all. Okay, so now this is hot. I'll set it aside so it can dry. And here's our layer. Isn't that so cool? Oh, I see a little spot right there. I think I missed. Let me get that. That's better. I didn't get that inked. I didn't get this corner inked very well, so it didn't hold powder. All right, so now let's finish up this card. So now this is a really simple finish because I think this is so stunning. You want this to just be the focal point. So I wanted to make sure this sat nice and flat on this layer. So I am going to add adhesive right around the edges, okay? So I'm going to take some Stampin' Seal Plus and get right on the edges. Ooh, I think my adhesive is almost empty. Uh-oh. Hopefully I have enough here. I'm going to go right on the edge so that it really holds this down, because when you heat emboss, it can make your paper a little bit twisty. So I'm going to put a couple in the middle too. Now, generally when I do little layers like this, I always use Tombow liquid glue so that I have the ability to move it and get it exactly where I want it. So this will be a little bit of an adventure. Hopefully I get it where I want it the first time, because I'm not going to be able to lift it up and move it. So let's see if I can get it even. That's pretty good. All right, so isn't that cool? See how the black just gives it that little extra pop. Now let's take our card base and burnish it nicely at our score line and put this right on the front. And I really want this to be flat and smooth. So I'm actually, I know you're going to gasp when I do this, but I'm telling you, you guys, these are the best. These are foam adhesive sheets. They're double-sided. They're the same foam as our dimensionals, but instead of being cut into little pieces, they're just a big piece. These are awesome for running through our die cutting machine to create shapes with dimension, especially if they have a lot of detail and you don't want to have to try to put glue. But I'm going to put a huge piece on the back of this just because I want this to be nice and flat and even. I don't want it to sink or buckle when I mail it. So I'm just going to cut a piece and I'm just going to put the whole thing on the back. There. Now we have a decision to make. Do we want the purple on the bottom or the yellow on the bottom? I think I like the purple in the corner. All right, so I'm just going to stick this down. I've got some embossing powder here. I'm just going to stick this right down in the center of our card. All right. Now to finish it off, we just need a little simple sentiment. So I have a scrap of basic black here. I'm going to use the hello and I'm going to heat emboss this, except I'm going to use white embossing powder. So to do that, I'm just going to use the Versamark ink again, and here's my hello stamp. Ink it up well. Now with black, I like to make sure I don't have any stragglers, so I have this little powdery pouch. It's called an embossing buddy. We used to have it. Unfortunately, we don't anymore. However, if you don't have one of these, you could take the corner of a sock and put some cornstarch in it and just tie it with some linen thread. And then you simply rub it over the top of your paper. It does two things. It keeps the embossing powder from sticking to the paper because the powder is there, but it also takes away the static, which also helps keep the embossing powder from sticking so you don't get stragglers. Now you don't notice those as much on white unless you're using a dark embossing powder, but I find that the white on black you really notice. So I have stamped the hello in Versamark ink, and you may not be able to see that very well, but it's there. Then I'm going to bring in my white embossing powder, and my spoon got left on my table, so I'm just going to dunk this. So I'll hold it and I'm just going to stick it right down in there. And now that powder has stuck to the Versamark ink and not to my paper. Now when I'm heat embossing, I do always like to have a little brush handy to brush off any little stray pieces that might be stuck. So this is just a little paintbrush. It could be any kind of little brush. All right, so this is a little piece, so I'm going to put it back in here and I'm going to heat this. And my gun is hot, so it shouldn't take long. Now when you heat this, It will melt, but sometimes it looks a little bumpy, and if you keep the heat on it, it will turn nice and smooth. So make sure you heat your powder long enough, but not too long so that you scorch it. All right, so here's our sentiment. So cute, right? I love that. Look at it. It's just so cute. It's just enough. So I am going to do the same thing. I'm going to take a chunk of this, and I want that to be just on there nice and flat. So I'm going to flip this over and put this right on the back. And then we can set it right down here. Hello. I love that. And then let's dress it up with some sequins. I think I like these. Maybe the blue? No, I think I like these. So I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool and just add a couple of these guys onto this card just to dress it up a bit. Black dots would look amazing on here, actually. Some of our matte black dots, those would be super cool. I don't have them handy or I would add them. All right, and there's our card. Isn't that cool? So cool. Hi, Tina. Thanks for joining today. So can you see where the clear embossing powder has made this nice and shiny, but it's matte, not shiny, where the basic white paper's popping through. So there you go. This one I did in stripes, strips of color, and this one I just did in clusters of color. So I don't know if you have a preference, but there you have it. So playing with masks today. So there's the heat embossing, and here is using it to create a fun background. So I hope that inspires you to play with your masks. Get those masks out. Now, remember, every other week I offer card kits with purchases. So if you jump onto my online store and place an order of at least $30, I will send you the card kits to make these projects. It will include your cardstock, your designer series paper, the embellishments and ribbon. You will need to provide the stamps and ink to make these. I'll be putting these on my blog, so you'll have all your measurements and pieces to cut there, okay? Now, one thing I did forget to tell you about, registration is coming to a close for my Christmas in July event. You guys, this product suite is gorgeous. We will use the Tidings and Trimmings. Let me flip this over. The Tidings and Trimmings product suite out of the annual catalog to create 16 projects together. You will get your bundle in your project kit, as well as a half a pack of this gorgeous Tidings of Christmas designer series paper. It's so pretty in the evening evergreen and cherry cobbler. You will get some red rhinestones. You're going to get some of this gorgeous new metallic, look at this metallic paper out of the annual catalog. It's so pretty. You're going to get ribbon. You're going to get trim, gifts. You'll get a goodie, all kinds of great stuff in there. I have one project to show you that's a sneak peek. We're going to do 3 classes. It will be held in a private Facebook group. One class will be classic Christmas cards. We're going to do fancy dancy Christmas folds and bags, tags, boxes, and decor. So this is a really cool 3D card. This card fold I got from Julie DiMatteo, who does awesome 3D items, but look at this. Isn't this cool? So this is a double gift card holder, or you could use it as a card. It's your choice. But inside here I have 2 gift cards. So if you like to give gift cards for Christmas, you could tuck 2. You could even tuck a 3rd one in here if you wanted and not have this little note card portion of it. But anyway, this is super, super cool and so pretty. This is one of the 4 fancy dancy Christmas folds that we're going to do. So if you would like to join us, I would love to craft with you for the day. It's going to be on Sunday, July 25th. Again, there will be 3 different classes. I'm going to ship kits out around July 16th, but the last day to RSVP is June 30th so that I can order all your things. Now, if you already have this Tidings and Trimmings bundle, no worries. You're welcome to substitute something else, and there's a spot on the registration form for that. So I'm going to link the registration form to the description of today's video when we're done. Hop on over, get yourself registered, join us for the day of crafting. You aren't going to regret it. I know you're going to love the projects, and we will have a really fun day together. Oh, and did I say that it comes with a cute little bag too? And gifts. I know I said it. I'm going to say it again. So anyway, have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed seeing some projects made with our new masks. And have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.